Joining us here is the Senate Majority Leader, John Thune. Mr. Leader, thanks for being here.
Nice to see you. Thanks, Bret.
You know, their whole thing is, it's up to you. That's their message. What do you say to that?
Well, I don't know where they come up with that, because we are Republicans united, House Republicans, Senate Republicans, President Trump. The House Republicans have passed a short-term funding resolution that is clean, nonpartisan, and came over to the Senate. It's sitting at the desk in the Senate. We could pick it up and pass it tonight. The president would sign it into law. The government stays open. It's that simple. And what they're trying to do is create a counter-narrative that suggests that they can add trillions of dollars of spending, free health care for illegals to this thing, and it's just flat. You know, there isn't a world in which they're being realistic. This is a totally unserious proposal.
You wrote an op-ed, and you said, in fact, the Democrats voted 13 times for clean funding bills while President Biden was in office. So what is the explanation why not this time to continue negotiating the appropriations bills?
Well, that's exactly what we want to do, and I've made this very clear. You pass a short-term funding resolution that will enable us to finish the other appropriations bills through the normal, regular process. So we want to fund the government the way that it should be funded, which is through regular order, and that's the Appropriations Committee marking up bills, reporting them to the floor, opening it up to the amendment process. That's the way it used to work. In Chuck Schumer's universe, we didn't do appropriations bills. It was all written behind closed doors in his office. And now he's upset because he isn't being consulted on everything, because we're doing things the way we should be doing them, allowing Republican senators and Democrat senators to work together to pass these bills. And what we need is to fund the government, give us some time to do the rest of the appropriations bills, and if there are other issues they want to talk about, one of which is this premium tax credit issue, we welcome that conversation. But you can't hold the federal government hostage. Release the hostage, and then we can start talking about these other things.
You know, Leader Jeffries said in the Oval Office there was a frank and direct discussion. In Washington, that translates to heated at times. Was it heated?
Well, I mean, I think it was
lively.
It was lively. It was spirited. And, you know, obviously they're in a tough spot politically. And I get it. I mean, they've got a base that is demanding that they fight anything related to President Trump. This, you know, you mentioned the 13 times they did that. When they had the majority, the Democrats did. You had Joe Biden in the White House, passed 13 short-term continuing resolutions. Well, what's changed? Donald Trump's the president.
But, you know, on the health issue, health providers could lose $32 billion if ACA credits at the center of the shutdown fight expire. The lapse in Obamacare subsidies could also lead to an additional $7.7 billion in unpaid medical bills for uninsured patients, Big deal, right, for a lot of people.
Well, the premium tax credit issue is something we're willing to have a conversation about. But the fact of the matter is, it is rife with waste, fraud, and abuse. It needs reforms. It is a program where the government makes direct payments to insurance companies. Insurance companies get subsidies to cover more people. So through their agents and brokers, they go out and auto-enroll people, many of whom don't even know they have coverage. And of the 23 million people who were covered in the exchanges last year, 12 million never filed a claim, because a lot of them don't even know they have coverage. And there's no income caps on it. There's a couple in West Virginia making $580,000 a year. It's getting subsidies from the federal government for their health care.
But you're willing to work on this issue in particular?
Yeah, I mean, part of this is the base Obamacare program is not going to be affected. What's going to be affected is the enhancements that the Democrats added when they had the majorities. So but we're willing to have that conversation, but you got to do that. You know, you can't do that in the context of a hostage-taking situation, which is where we are right now.
What about the OMB director's letter, Russ Vaught, in which he asks the department heads, or tells them there might be possible permanent layoffs, saying agencies are directed to use this opportunity to consider reduction in force notice for all employees that don't fit under being funded by the funding that continues.
Right. Well, and that's exactly why we ought to keep the government open.
So that's a real threat?
Well, I mean, I think that, look, if you have to manage a shutdown, if you're Russ Vought, you have to figure out in the middle of a shutdown, what am I going to do? How am I going to shift money around? It is the American people that get hurt by this. There is no reason for a government shutdown. Republicans are united. House Republicans, Senate Republicans, the President of the United States all agree to keep the government open. All it takes is Chuck Schumer to agree to put the bill. It's sitting at the Senate desk. The House has passed it. We can pass it. The President signs it into law. Government stays open.
You know, we saw this train coming down the tracks. I interviewed you in July and asked specifically about this. Take a listen. You're going to need Schumer's support to keep the government open.
We are.
So how are you going to get it?
Well, I mean, at some point you hope that in the interest of the country that they will work with us on issues like funding the government. But it's been very hard because at least right now, anything that the president wants, they're against.
Said anything the president wants, they're against. And we're at this moment. Are you in the same place?
Well, this is a perfect example of what I was talking about, because this is a clean, short-term, bipartisan funding resolution, something we did 13 times and the Democrats had the majority. And all we have to do is pick it up and pass it, and then we can go to work on the other appropriations bills and the other things Democrats want to address. But they've tried to introduce, $1 trillion in new spending, free health care for illegals as part of their proposal. And we can't do that by tomorrow night at midnight. And we're not going to do most of that stuff anyway. But if they want to do something on premium tax credits, we're open to having that conversation. But you can't do it in this context. Schumer is running scared from his political left. I mean, it's that simple. And again, this is all about who's in the White House. They did this 13 times when Biden was in the White House.
So chances right now, standing in the White House driveway, that the government shuts down, where do you put it?
Well, I mean, it's up to them. And I don't know.
So above 50%?
Well, if the Democrats are coming out and saying flatly, we will vote repeatedly, and they will have to, because we will force them to vote, because the bill is sitting in the Senate to keep the government, or to shut the government down, not to fund the government. It's up to them. The ball is in their court, and this is politics for them, nothing more, nothing less.
Mr. Leader, thanks for the time.
Thanks, Bret.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Yep.